somewhere out there is my family. I can't find him on my own.
Hang on, Dory!
Surf's up, dude!
Incoming!
I don't want to be touched. Sorry.
That's okay. Everybody does it. Nothing to be ashamed of.
I trust Becky.
You trust Becky. Becky's eating a cup.
Just keep swimming.
Mom! Dad!
Does this mean we have to say goodbye to Dory?
I don't know why I thought I could do this.
Dory, you are about to find your parents. And when you do that, you'll be
Home.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to ReelTime for the real, everyday movie fan. I'm Josh Williams.
And I'm Ryan Murphy.
And today we're giving you a real-time review of Finding Dory. Finding Dory was directed by Andrew Stanton, and it stars Ellen DeGeneres, Albert Brooks, Hayden... How do you say the last name? You're good at this. Roylance. Thank you. Ed O'Neill, Kaitlin Olson, Burrell, Diane, Keaton, and...
Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy, thank you. I just about forgot him. And, of course, Idris Elba's in it. It's his third voiceover of this year, and he was actually pretty good in it. Now, if you want to know the synopsis of this video, please go in the description below. We'll get right into it. What did you think of Finding Dory?
It was good.
It was good. Yeah, it was really
as good as Finding Nemo.
No, but it was still really good. I thought
this was a solid movie. You really, come out of it having a new respect for the character of Dory. I mean, it's a heartwarming picture in that regard. It has a lot of fun stuff in it. It doesn't just repeat a lot of the same, because there's a point early on in the movie where they're running from something, and you're thinking, is this just going to be all the same stuff? And if from the Finding Nemo, and that's just kind of the extent of it, though. Then they kind of end up in the aquarium, and just they kind of do some new stuff. There was on watching Good Morning America this morning, and they had the real life aquarium, and they were showing where the movie takes place in California, and they were showing some of it, and it looks exactly the same. I mean, they just recreated it entirely. It was really kind of cool. So
that was one of the things I really loved, was the CG was amazing, and I just felt like when you looked at the water, I mean, it looked almost real. It was very impressive, I thought, as far as the CG was concerned. And one of the biggest concerns I had was, I was wondering, now Dory was an amazing supporting character in the movie, in Finding Nemo, and I was very cautious, almost, whether she could hold her own as a lead role, and I was wrong. She really held her own. At first, I will admit, and some people call me stupid, but in the first 20 minutes of the movie where it's constant, like her forgetting her memory, I'll admit, at first I was getting a little annoyed, but the story kept progressing. I found myself just really involved in the story of her story.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly the way I felt. It's kind of annoying at first. Like, is this going to be a long hour and a half? And then
it really transformed into a really good story, because she's starting to get her memories back and so on and so forth. But what was some of the biggest things you liked about the movie, though, for real?
I mean, I liked Dory after a while.
Yeah, after a while, yeah.
And I liked, just like the whole aquarium and the whole, like, just the different animals, different wildlife. And there's lots of jokes they do in the movie that I think are based on real stuff animals do. That I would presume the writers were just like going to the aquarium and looking at some of the stuff the animals were behaving and like, oh, we should put that in the movie, and stuff like that. So. There's a lot of good stuff like that. There's good new characters, the great voiceover, of course. Pixar movies always have. Any anime movie really has great voiceover actors.
I was going to bring that up. I loved Hank, who's voiced by Ed O'Neill. I'll admit, when I first saw the movie, I was like, that sounds like J.K. Simmons, but of course it wasn't. It's Ed O'Neill. If you don't know him, he's from Modern Family and Married with Children. Yep, he's been in a lot of those good TV shows. But he was great. At first, I was like, man, he's kind of a prick a little bit. But then he really has a very soft side of him. And him and Ellen DeGeneres and Dory worked great together. I feel like I love their chemistry, how they kept going back and forth between one another. I really loved that. I think one of the things for me, I think I said in the beginning, even though he has a very small role in this, Idris Elba, he's just funny. You never would have guessed Idris Elba, because he's such a good actor, a serious role actor. But he plays animated so well. And if you don't know another good one, he's in Zootopia. He plays the captain of the police force in that movie, and I really loved him as well. What about something you may have not have liked so much?
There was, and that's the thing. This was a good movie. It wasn't really a great movie, and there was some stuff that was. I hate to take an animated movie about talking fish and say there's anything implausible about it, but there was some really.
There were a couple things,
stretches in this that you're just like, okay, even you've created a certain amount of suspension of disbelief, and now you're violating that.
I had one of the people I saw it with. He was like, "Oh, you're trying to suspend belief about a talking fish." I'm like, "Yeah, that's true, but come on." There's a couple of scenes in this movie you're like, "Is that really,
the movie,
really?"
Yeah, people. That always annoys me because people are like, "Oh, well, this is about a talking fish, so you can't ever like." Okay, so you're not taking the movie seriously because the movie is asking you to take seriously a world of talking fish, and if it's good, it's successful at that, and this movie is successful at that, and then it violates.
Yeah,
that
and that was
by
only toward
going
the
too
end
far.
where that had that problem, where the suspension of disbelief kind of really stretched. To me, the biggest part was the ending. I felt like there was too many endings. Like you'd have some kind of big climax of resolution of a story, then something else would have to happen, and then that would like it go to black and be like, "Oh, is that the end? That's a good ending." Okay, then you have another scene, and then you're like, "Okay, now it's finally over." I just kind of felt like maybe they could have found a better way to have a big, great resolution that could have been a really uplifting thing. Another thing for me, that was the other thing for me too. The end resolution. I'm not going to give anything away, but you kind of know what's going to go on in this movie. The end resolution, it kind of made you want to be emotionally have an emotional feeling toward the end resolution, but it didn't for me. I don't know why that was. Maybe they could have done it differently. I don't know. But for some reason, when the end resolution actually happened, where you're supposed to feel that emotional, tie to Dory and everything else, I just didn't feel that for some reason. Did you have that same feeling at all?
No, I'd say
you did.
It was plenty good at the end. It was just the ending just sort of drags. The whole climax just sort of drags on, and stuff keeps going wrong. And it was just sort of like, okay, I thought this movie was over a little while ago.
Yeah.
But, that was probably its biggest flaw. That and there's stuff earlier than that. Involving the octopus going around places. That was just.
I actually didn't mind that. I mean, that was okay.
But other than that, it was a solid movie. So
yeah. So overall, what are your thoughts? Give us your score out of 10, and if you recommend this to the audience.
Good movie. Some flaws in it, but it's really refreshing. I mean, I'm not crazy about making a whole lot of sequels to everything, but this was actually a pretty solid movie on its own. I'd probably give it a good 7.8 out of 10. Not bad.
It was a little bit low, but hey. For me, while it did have some problems, and especially toward the end, I felt like, we're really nitpicking this movie. I feel like this was a great movie. It was a noteworthy sequel to the movie. It didn't really capture the magic of the first one for me. Like I said, it did have some of its story problems. It was a good movie. It was really good. One of the things I wanted to bring up, as I love the fact that it's in a certain point in this movie, they kind of bring up what we're doing to the oceans, as far as like garbage in the oceans and how it can affect some fish. I really like that. I like that they touched up on that a little bit. I'm going to give it a score of 9 out of 10. I highly recommend this to everyone. Even though it sounded like we were nitpicking this movie, it was really good, at least in my opinion. I really, really like this movie. It may not have captured the magic, like I said, of Finding Nemo, but it's still a very noteworthy sequel, and I highly recommend take your kids, couples, especially if you grew up watching Finding Nemo as a kid or like early teens. Go watch it. You'll still have a great time. Dory does hold her own. DeGeneres was great. So, all right, folks, that'll do it today. Thank you very much for watching. What did you think of Finding Dory? Jump in the comments below and tell us whether you liked it or not, whether you're excited for it or not, and give us your score out of 10. Also, if you like what you watched, then please click the like button below and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can see more of our content in the future. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, thank you for keeping it real.
With ReelTime.